So I got a little tired of just recording stuff into a microphone on my computer, so I decided to do a video to change it up for my reflections portion of this presentation. So to give you an idea of how the BAMT strategy is different from what I learned to do, I kind of already mentioned this earlier, but I literally am like 99% sure that when I learned this kind of addition, like one digit plus one digit, um, it was just memorization because I when I think of those problems today still or when I see them, it's until learning this strategy, it was always just going back into my memory of what 7 plus 4 equal at. So very different from what I learned, and I honestly wish that I would have learned this strategy as a kid because now, like I said in a previous slide, I realize how helpful it is to think of numbers differently, and to think of addition with this 10 as a landmark idea. And I think I would have been I would have been better at math growing up had I learned this basic addition this way. That being said, I can definitely see the benefits of teaching addition and subtraction this way. Again, just to reiterate some things, it encourages this fluency, flexibility with numbers that you don't get when you learn addition just by memorization. Um, it strengthens students' understandings of what numbers can be put together to make 10. Um, and I think that's all I will say about that. Aspects I'm skeptical or sold on. I'm completely sold on this. I don't know why you wouldn't teach addition this way. I think it just makes a lot of sense and gives kids just another approach to use if they're struggling with addition. The only thing I would say I'm skeptical about is one source I looked at said that this kind of lays the groundwork for efficient computation with multi-digit numbers, which I would need to see some more research to show how this directly relates to that. Because once you get into multi-digit, the way like using 10 as a landmark, it would just look different. So I would need to see some examples of that for me to be sold on that too. As for teaching this skill, um, I don't think one example would be enough. It definitely wasn't for me when I was learning it, and that's why I included that little slide of like 5 practice problems, because I think it's just a matter of doing this a few times and then it clicks, unless you're like a math genius or something. Um, and then to be sure that the skill was definitely taught, I would again use like the manipulatives that I mentioned, the visual aids like the 10 frame, the phases that our textbook authors cover. I would kind of use that as a framework for my approach to teaching this skill. And then lastly, I think this is a great thing for teaching anything. I would want to have my student like either explain how to do the process of the skill back to me or to someone else who doesn't know it yet. Because I think that it's when you try to explain it that you really evaluate like how well you actually know what you're talking about. So yeah, that's kind of how I would approach teaching this skill. And that kind of covers my reflections about this strategy and the whole project. I hope this was helpful to all of you as future teachers. Um, I thought it was cool to just experience yet another new strategy for teaching a skill that all of us have to master, which is basic addition and in some cases subtraction. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this and got something out of it. The next slide that you'll see just has some discussion questions, which you can take to the discussion board. So I won't record those. You can just